Oh, would it be garbage collection?
It's going to be garbage collected. So by simply pointing, if I stop pointing at one of the students in the list, that's going to make A go away, but what about the rest of the students? Right? Now nobody's pointing to C, now nobody's pointing to H, now nobody's pointing to K. They all go away, right? They all go away. Does everybody see that? So linked lists are also fragile, right? Fragile. Because if you make a misstep in terms of redirecting your pointers, you got a big problem, right? Because you've now lost the whole rest of your list. Let's take our G example back and understand exactly how that goes. And that's going to translate into code really nicely when we get there. So watch the mistake here, right? Watch the mistake here. Ready? To insert G, I just need to take C and I need to point to G. And then I want to point G's hand to H. What's the problem with this scenario?
H dies.
H dies, not only H dies, but what else? K dies. So by making a misstep here, by doing these things in the wrong order, I will lose the whole rest of the list, okay? But what can we do to be careful, right? Because we are going to have this other pointer, right? I'm gonna just copy and paste this as a little sample here. I'm going to duplicate that and say, yeah, I'm going to have another reference over here that's going to be like new guy, right? This is the new person, right? So that reference has got a hold of G, right? We know G because that's the new person, right? So we got that one secure. So what is the proper order for us to do this? If we need to insert G, which thing must we do first?
G should point H first.
G has to first point to H, okay? Then C can point to G. Now we haven't lost anybody, right? So the order in which we do this has to be careful because we will lose things if we're not very, precise in our movements here, okay? Any questions?
Would there be an issue if, say that you forget to have C point at G, that now you have C and G pointing at H? Is that
in this case, what would happen is you would not be able to get then to the, to some other thing that you wanted. If these are both pointing here, and then this goes out of scope, right? Because you're going to have this reference to the new person, but that's eventually going to go out of scope. So when that reference goes out of scope, then G is going to go away. And now we've lost G from the thing, right? Somebody's got to be pointing at G so that any kind of reference that we have to the new thing, when that goes out of scope, is still going to be okay, that G's still secure here in the world. Does that make sense? And you'll see this in code, Blake, right? When we start writing code, we're going to see that we have to write it in this very specific way to make sure that we're holding on to these things, okay?
Yeah, I was just curious if something would happen that, like, yeah, so G would disappear in that case.
That's right. That's right. Somebody's going to be in trouble, right? If you don't go through the very precise order, somebody's going to be in trouble, or a lot of somebodies are going to be in trouble, right? Okay, everybody doing okay so far then? Can I do another quick check-in, making sure that you're good on these concepts of the references, the fingers? I know they seem like, Fisher-Price kind of simplistic examples, but I promise this is how